Welcome back to Sports Tonight Live. You're watching us on Primetime Sky Channel 498, HD Freeview Channel 112. I'm Rhodri Williams. This is your forum, your chance to get involved. So remember, you can Skype us. STL-broadcast is the Skype address. You can tweet at Sports Tonight TV, or you can give us a call 0207 291 0868. My guests this evening, Efan Ekoku and Harry Harris. And we're discussing transfer gossip. Always plenty of that this time of the season. Clubs are away or even at home on their pre-season matches. The transfer rumour mill is always turning. We'll start with a manager who's not working at the moment, a high-profile manager. We've already mentioned him once tonight, Harry Redknapp. We'll start with Harry because... what a season. I mean, incredible with what's happened with Spurs, and then he was in contention for the England job, and then he had his case with the courts, came through that, he had his health scare. What is next for Harry Redknapp, and how long before we see him back in a job?
Well, I think we ought to say, first of all, I was on this programme with John Smith and eventually got him to confess, because obviously he dealt with his contract, that the reason he was sacked was because he was buying ready-made players and the owners wanted... younger players, and I think we touched on that, didn't we? About QPR buying ready-made players, and they should be buying younger players. Well, of course, that is the way forward. And Harry has been there a number of years, and maybe he was continuing to buy ready-made players. Managers know that they're going to live or die by their results. So if they buy a player that's established, he's going to help the team. If they buy a young player, it's a bit of a risk, and he's got to be bedded in, etc., etc. So, but the interesting thing he said to me a couple of days ago was that. He's had 4 or 5 offers from abroad, very lucrative ones. He's not very keen on going abroad. I mean, Watford's abroad for him, I should imagine. But, what he did say, which is very interesting, was that come November and December, clubs are going to panic. Now, there's clearly a panic at that point, maybe a bit later, about relegation, and there always has been over the years. But now we've got this bigger TV contract where clubs are going to get between 60 and 90 million pounds each, 75% rise in their TV revenues, and they're getting huge amounts anyway. Clubs cannot, certainly couldn't before, but even now, cannot afford to slip out of the Premier League. So he's thinking, well, if I wait towards the end of the year, there's going to be virtually half of the Premier League are going to be in a state of absolute panic. And what's going to happen? We're going to sack their manager.
So he's only looking at 4 or 5 months, really?
Yes, and he loves the South Coast, as we know, and he's managed most of the teams there. He's travelled far and away to Spurs and West Ham. And I think whether he wants to go to the Middle East or Australia, I would doubt very much. So he's in his mid-60s, and for me, he's an established English manager.
A very good one as well.
Very good one who should not be out of work. And what has happened at Tottenham is just incredible because, as I said here on this programme a few days back, they picked the wrong manager, and I'm sticking by that. All the faults that were shown up at Chelsea, they haven't disappeared because he said, I think I got a few things wrong. They're embedded, you don't just change overnight. And I think this new manager is already showing those traits. A couple of things he said about Modric, which he said, well, I didn't mean to say him on the record. I just bumped into a journalist at an airport, and it's come to light.
Yeah, I thought he was a little bit hasty with his comments about a player who he doesn't know very well yet. He's only been at the club a few weeks. So that surprised me.
And especially what happened last season with the same player, with Modric. We know this is a delicate situation anyway. The alarm bells should be ringing, should they not?
They should be. I would imagine that when you take over a new club, you feel you're at your strongest. You can, speak out publicly. You can maybe make a few comments that you can't do midway through the season when the team is not doing particularly well. He had a troubled time at Chelsea, but I think even by the end of pre-season, if he's not got those players on side, he's got a very difficult job. It's not as big and as powerful, or nowhere near as successful as dressing room as Stamford Bridge has been over the last 7 or 8 years. But there are some very good players there who want to be seen to be doing well, and if they see any sign of weakness in villas-boas, and he'll be nervous going into new seasons. Like I said, if he's not got players behind him on board before the first ball is kicked, and then those first 3 or 4 months could be very, very tricky because Harry Redknapp is going to be a tough act to follow. He did very well for Tottenham over the last couple of seasons.